sure both of you guys understand what we're doing here. You guys, there seems to be a disagreement between the two of you guys on the dirt track that Mr. Apple has constructed, and honestly, we're here to express the feelings that you guys have. We're gonna try and keep it a nice, positive environment. Everything said here is said in confidentiality. That goes for the mediators as well. And so anything you feel that needs to be said, feel free to speak your mind. But we are not here to call names and throw dirt on each other. We're here to simply communicate, since that also seems to be one of the problems.
Yeah, and then in the next 2 or 3 hours, the goal is to reach a solution to this, and I want you guys to be honest.
To be honest, he can't take a little bit of dirt on his car. This is funny.
Okay, well let's.
To be honest, you're fucking up a nice life.
A nice life. You moved to the country city, boy.
We'll get into the storytelling in just a minute.
Let's start with Mr. Apple.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can begin exactly what has been going on.
Look, I've lived here for how many years? I don't know. I've been here for a good while now. I moved here with my family. We've built a nice place. You know, we get along with just everyone around here. And this guy comes in probably about 6 months into his place. He starts complaining about everything and everyone. And, you know, like, we just try to be good neighbors, you know. We invite him out every now and then.
What do you mean him complaining about everything and everyone?
Well, you know, the one thing that what you probably don't know is, you know, what we like to do, or at least everyone in this area, we're generally speaking, you know, we are located on a lot of land, and there's only a few people here. So really, you're gonna get to know everyone pretty fast. You know, anyone.
Communities, you know.
Yeah, we have
we're
communities.
actually not going to be interrupting each other. So while one person's speaking, I'd ask that the other person's quietly listening.
That's not really too much of a problem. We do it all the time, anyways.
But while we're mediating, that is one of the
We'll get to you
respectable.
after, Mr. White. Don't worry.
See, that's the funny thing about city folk. They don't have any manners. I don't get it. You know, I might have started off a little rough earlier because I just don't know why we're here. You know, they told me to come here, but whatever.
Because you and all your hillbilly friends keep kicking the can
Mr.
way
White,
too late at night,
this is
and I've had enough of
the
it.
second
I'm trying to get some damn sleep.
Do you want to
Oh, I'm
step
sorry.
outside for a
Do
second?
I want to step outside? No.
We interrupted your 8 o'clock nap session. I'm sorry.
Mr. Apple, you're talking to us, so I really want to know as to what's going on, and then Mr. White will get to you, and you'll have plenty of time to talk about how you feel and what's going on. So
All right.
please continue, Mr. Apple.
Continue.
Oh god, it's just funny because just look at him. Anyways, so to put it straight, you know, like, we pretty much, or at least what I think he wants to argue about, is something that revolves around what we had a visit from last week. We had a visit from like some government people. Something about our road track dirt track is you know, being loud or noisy, something like that. Whatever, you know, like we pretty much. I built a road dirt track for my children. They play on it, and apparently he doesn't like it. And quite frankly, I don't know. We never had a problem with him. And the first thing I get to hear from him is a complaint. So it's just rude to not hear, hi, how's it going, I'm your neighbor, anything like that. So really, I don't know how to understand this introduction of who you are.
What's the complaint?
You want an introduction?
No,
I know who I am.
We're not.
That's who I am.
We're not at your part yet.
Who
So
are you?
if I can have you sit there and quietly
Oh,
listen.
I've been quiet.
No, but that wasn't quietly listening. That was you
I've been
adding
listening.
your. No, but that right there, what you just did, was uncalled for, and it wasn't quietly listening. So if I can have you sit there and just quietly listen while Mr. Apple
You can
explains his side of the
express your
story,
feelings by just, you know.
we'll
letting
get
us
to you
know
in
how you
just a
feel.
second. Thank you. Now you look like you're actively listening.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Now if you can go on and explain.
So what exact complaints has he been saying to you?
he hasn't told me anything other than, you know what, you guys are making a lot of noise, and I don't like it. And quite frankly, he only said that after we had a visit from the officials. So, you know, where I'm from, if we have a problem, we bring it up with you directly. And I didn't get that.
So
And quite
how-
frankly, he's taking it up with my kids more than I have.
So how does that make you feel, him going to the city or talking to your kids instead of discussing that with you face to face?
Oh, but I did. I gave him a call directly to discuss this issue
Oh,
before,
is that
before we
true?
got
He
here.
calls it disgusting.
Is that true?
Oh, you're right, because, you know, you rednecks like to get really just angry about everything, and, you know, you couldn't handle a subtle conversation.
See, that's
Okay.
the
So
funny thing about
since
people.
we already know that, you
That
know,
you're
about how
redneck?
you feel and the story goes,
City
we'll get
boy.
back to you. Let's start with Mr. White and what exactly is going on.
What exactly is going on? Okay, well, see, you know, I've spent a good majority of my life establishing myself as a professional, and so has my wife. And recently we decided, you know what, let's take a step back from our careers and build a life where we can have some peace and quiet rather than, you know, dealing with the loud city. Now, for the first 6 months of our lease here, after we bought the house, it was great. It was quiet. You know, we were really just settling down, enjoying what we paid for. But then my hillbilly neighbors over here decided they wanted to
Can
go
we,
ahead.
can we stop with
No,
the
we
name
can't.
calling, please? Actually, we're gonna need to because it's actually quite rude. You wouldn't like it if Mr. Apple was calling you names.
I don't like that Mr. Apple kicks dirt up onto my house and onto my cars.
Boy,
and
if
I
you
don't
can't handle a
appreciate
little
it.
dirt on your house, you don't
If that
belong in
was-
the country.
If that
Oh
was
boy, little
Oh, I'm
little
sorry. If I can't call you boy and you can call me redneck, you need to get your morals straight.
See, but I'm not a boy. You are a redneck. There's the difference.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
you're not
You a
acting.
bitch. Is that right?
Redneck.
I mean, you guys are, you know, very frustrated with each other, but I mean, right now here,
Well, see,
we're gonna-
I'm an old man, and my health has been put at risk because of him and his little freaking NASCAR racetrack that he
A little
decided to
dirt?
run. A little dirt.
there's
All right,
no
so
help that risk.
A little dirt.
What did you-
Excuse me.
The
Excuse me.
toxins.
Excuse me.
I'm talking.
You're not talking. You're arguing with him. You're talking to
Okay,
us.
so then
We're gonna each give you guys a chance to speak.
Let me go ahead and continue with the story then, because what he's telling you actually is a crooked line. He said it was the truth, but it's a crooked truth.
That's his story. You guys each have a story, and I'm gonna each need to hear that story without any interruption. So all the snide remarks are gonna need to stop right now, along with the name calling, along with all the little gestures and flipping each other off. All of that stopping right now.
we're here to help. So just, you're gonna talk through us. So what,
If you're a professional, conduct yourself like one. No,
Hey, there's some
speak.
advice. Look at that.
Giving him footing. Cool.
Mr.
Great. Wonderful.
Mr. White, I really wanna know your side of the story.
No, obviously we're here to listen to Mr. Apple. So just go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Apple. What else you got to say?
You know, maybe if you weren't so condescending, maybe people would listen to you. How many years you had to go through to figure that out?
What does this have to do with the racetrack?
Oh,
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was told.
I'm sorry, I
to make
recognize
myself like
people as
professional.
people.
So what
Before
else
I-
about the racetrack has been?
So besides the dirt and the toxins and the fumes that I'm inhaling because his track's running all the time, he always has car traffic coming in now, which I've actually had to go to the doctor for and get a prescription medication. There's the garbage that he throws over the fence, that his kids throw over the fence, all the you know his his uncivilized associates, I guess we'll call them, throw their everything around into my backyard, onto my cars. I've had to buy a pressure washer to keep the mud off of my house and off of my cars, and then I have to go and pick up all the trash. I'm an old man. I'm in my 60s, and I have to sit here and collect trash from little kids throwing stuff in my yard? Hell no. Hell no. And my wife can't sleep either. She's retired. She deserves that.
Yeah, so it's just.
And then you know I call the city. They say nothing's wrong, but they told me, okay, well keep taking pictures. go ahead, just keep taking pictures, keep documenting your evidence. And so I did. And you know what I got when that happened? He tried to tell me that I was taking pictures of his daughter, and then continued to threaten me, and then started sitting on top of his roof like a little friggin' squawking bird, and friggin' projected his remarks upon me and my wife, and that's not the type of neighborhood I paid to live in. That's not what I worked for
You're
in my life.
constantly cleaning and it gets a little.
Right, not just clean, but I have to deal with people standing on top of their roofs yelling at me? What is this? I don't understand.
And so,
How long has that been going on?
About 4 months now, a little bit after he built the track, I tried to
and when
resolve the problem with him.
did you confront him about that? When did you make that call? You said.
I've called you on 2 occasions. So I called him the first time and I told him, I asked him if there was something we could do to work out, his kids using the dirt track at reasonable hours to reduce noise. And
Was that before you contacted the
it was,
city?
yeah, that was before, because he just didn't want to. He didn't want to cooperate. He had nothing to say. As if I was impeding upon his all-American rights, and I'm not. I'm having my sleep violated. I'm having my privacy violated, and I'm having my stuff ruined because he can't keep his kids under control.
Okay, it's a lot of stress to deal with.
I'm in my retirement phase. I don't pay to deal with this sort of crap.
Okay. Let's just take a moment to think about how, Mr. White is feeling. To consider that he's at an age where he doesn't have to keep continuing to wash his car and, deal with the noise. So I understand you have about 3 kids who love to motocross.
All 3.
No, what are their ages?
3, 8, and
Well, that's safe, putting a 3-year-old on a motorbike.
11. She's never been on a motorbike. She loves to watch.
You said
I wouldn't put a 3-year-old.
You said they all like to motorbike. I'm just
Yes,
quoting you.
they all like motorbikes. I didn't say they all like to ride one.
And so, when did this motorbike track? When was this constructed?
About 6 months ago.
Okay.
You mean when it started? About 6
Yeah.
months ago.
And when did you move into your
Moved in
house?
a year ago, and so
how was-
had I known that he was gonna build a track for his rowdy little children, his little rugrats, I wouldn't have moved in. I would have found somewhere else to move. But then he goes and builds this without even consenting, any of his neighbors, myself included, and bam, now I'm dealing with a NASCAR stadium right next to me. Like I don't.
How big is this
There's a difference.
racetrack?
Quarter mile, maybe a little bit larger.
How big is your backyard?
My backyard, I have about 1.5 acres. Almost everyone in our neighborhood does. It's what we pay for. We're all relatively, affluent.
How close is the
How close
track?
is? Yeah.
The track is bordering my fence, our property
The
line.
whole track or just a part?
No, it's the whole track that's right there, and the bikes are kicking dirt up on my house, almost like he just wanted to have fun painting my house with his little dirt, and then the sand that collects on my lawn, and all the mud that goes on my cars. He has fun with it, they like to splash dirt around and just have fun with it because they're a bunch of dirty people.
I would.
Kids.
I definitely
Country
Kids
keep
love
those
to get
comments
dirty.
to myself. But yeah, if you can think about this from not only his perspective, but maybe his kids may not be as aware of what they're doing. They may just be out there.
I'm not asking his kids to change. I'm asking him as a parent and as a neighbor to change. See, all I've ever told his kids was, be careful, be safe on the track. That's it. That's all I've ever said to his kids.
Do you remember
because
the
this
exact
problem
words?
is not about his kids. This is between he and I.
Oh no.
But his
When
kids
you
are-
threaten my kids, then it's become a problem between you and I on a different level. Do you remember what you told my kids?
Did I not just say?
Oh
I want them
yeah,
to be
you
safe?
didn't tell them, did you? Yeah, he went up to my kids and he goes, you know, you need to stop riding your stupid bikes, especially when I'm trying to sleep in my goddamn house. Who talks to children like that?
You said I threatened them. That's no threat. That's kind of just fact.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry if
Maybe
from time to
it's
time
not-
I get
maybe
upset
it's
because
not a
I'm on
threat.
medication.
Oh, you're on meds, and so you're gonna make that
Dude.
everybody's problem?
It's your problem because your track is the one that's forcing me to be on these medications. Otherwise, I would be enjoying the clean air in my backyard. But no, instead I have to deal with mud flung in my house and into my lungs with all the gas that your little foot traffic brings in. I don't need that. I'm already dying. You think I need to die quicker? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm not
Like,
trying to
don't-
mess with your health.
Well, you are.
I'm
with your
just trying
track.
to let my kids do what they love to do.
What
Find a
if we
different place
took,
for your
what if
track.
we took a moment to maybe realize, okay, Mr. White, maybe for you to think, well, you know, these kids just really want to do that, and it does require them to throw dirt around. And
It
it's their
doesn't
hobby.
require them to throw dirt. I mean, I understand
And
the
then-
sport. I understand the sport's dirty.
Yeah,
I get that, and I'm not making this about the kids. I'm making this about the track.
yeah.
Because kids are gonna do what kids are gonna do. I get that. I was a kid too once.
Definitely.
But this, from a parent, this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
How do I
Apple,
parent?
Let me
Tell
ask
me.
you one thing. If you were at this age where you didn't want to deal with the noise and the dirt and cleaning, I mean, how do you feel if you were in his shoes? Would you be maybe a little upset?
If I really were at his age and then I had to deal with really a lot of noise around, like I'm built on land. I've lived on land. My family has lived on land. We have money. We would just move.
Yeah.
But
And
if
if-
you
So I
realistically,
should have to move after a year of buying a house just because you want to have your noisy little.
You see, we never make
NASCAR.
assumptions either. I haven't told him a word, and he's already assuming that I told him to move. I'm saying what I would have done personally is I would either move, I would confront them right away.
But I confronted you, and she's asking
You
you.
threatened me with
No,
law codes. I don't know where that's coming
Yes,
from.
I did. I did request a restraining order. You're right, and I did.
No,
I did report you to the city for being a public nuisance. Yes, I did that, and
No,
and
that's
disturbing
not what
my
I'm talking about.
peace. I
That's
did
not
all
what I'm
that.
talking about. What he told me was that it's illegal to have a dirt track in my backyard. I've never heard of any
It is
legal
if it
code.
wasn't approved by the city. Everything you construct in a backyard has to be approved by the city. I didn't get a city approval request.
Why didn't they tell me to remove it then? They checked my house 2 months ago. He's the one that told me, oh, it's against the law code to have a dirt track. I never heard of
I
anything
believe
like that.
different
They
cities
checked
it's
it.
different, but I mean,
I'm sorry?
in different cities they have different laws about construction.
Would you by any chance know which one it is here? Because I haven't heard.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
Well, they checked it 2 months ago. Haven't heard anything since. He's been taking pictures ever since. Speaking of which, I took note of what he said earlier. I don't know if you realize it, but he said something about me squawking on my roof, yelling at him. You know, I'm sorry, but if I'm on my roof and you're on my acre of land, looking and taking pictures of my family and I, when
I was
you're
on your land. I was
10
on the
feet-
line between our land.
we're separated by 1.5 acres of land.
No,
my
we're
house
not, because
is.
your track is right next to my house.
My track is. My house is not.
Right, I wasn't up at your house. I was up at the track.
Then how could I yell at you from far away?
Your house is not that far from mine. It's on the other side of the track.
1.5 acres is pretty far if you ask me.
No, the rest of your land is open land. That's
Mm.
that's acre and a half. You can have your track anywhere else, but you wanted to keep it in your backyard, so right next to your house. So
Boy, everywhere is my backyard.
Can I
and
ask
yours.
you what type of health issues that you have been?
I've been experiencing some respiratory problems. The doctor has identified that to be from the dust, the fumes from the cars and the dirt bikes, and potentially from the garbage. I'm not really sure.
I'm really sorry about that.
I'm not, because
Oh.
you spend your life around cars. Cars emit a more fume than my dirt bike ever would because it's not even close to you.
I
What do you
collect-
do
I-
every day?
I
You
collect-
polish your
I
cars, you
collect
collect your cars, and
You're
you
right,
ride
and
your
I
cars.
worked 40 hard years to do that.
With cars.
No, not with cars.
Oh, then what
I'm
do
not
you
a
do?
car
What
professional.
do you do?
I'm a business professional.
You're a business
I am a business professional, yes. It has nothing to do with cars. Cars is a collection, it's a hobby. I mean, you should understand hobbies, your kids, dirt biking is their hobby, but they
It
can
is.
dirt bike somewhere else, they can do their hobby somewhere else.
Right. And the funny thing is, even though they're around all the time, they're completely healthy. I'm completely healthy, my friends completely
Right, because
healthy.
they're moving around.
But you have
instead
to
of all
understand,
sitting in their lungs.
they're at two totally different stages of their life. Your kids are definitely a lot younger, and their immune system
But my
maybe.
friends aren't.
But your friends also
You're also
probably
not
aren't
my age.
70 years old.
Yeah, they
You have to consider that. And you also have to consider the fact that his kids are young, full of energy, and the way they may choose to exert that energy.
I do understand that, and that's why I told you that I'm not making this about the kids, it's about the dirt track.
Okay, so let's discuss the dirt track and the problems that it's arising. You dislike the dirt track for the fact.
Because it's killing me, and
For-
because of the noise,
So
and
you-
because it's putting dirt up on my house,
So you dislike it
All
for
my objects.
the dirt and the fumes
and the noise.
and the noise. Okay, so what would be your suggestions on fixing that? Reasonably, if you were in his shoes and you wanted to keep the dirt track still for your kids, but you wanted to cut down the noise and the dirt, how would you go about
I
fixing it?
build that bitch on the other side of my property,
Build what?
the dirt track.
It's already built.
Okay,
By my house, he has a whole other acre to put it on. I don't know why this has to be a problem.
and how would you?
Or honestly, you can remove it entirely because I don't want to have to do anything. It's already created enough problems for me. Why should
How
I?
do you feel about his first suggestion?
I feel like I pay my taxes, I do my due, and I should do with my property whatever I want to do with my
Well,
property.
and I
Okay,
should be charged with
so
murder.
understanding his problems that he has with your dirt track, how would you go about altering the way it is to better fit both of your needs? What would be your suggestion?
He
on
wouldn't.
fixing
He's
it?
selfish.
Oh,
he
no,
doesn't,
just-
he doesn't
no,
care
just-
about other people.
But you haven't heard him yet. He may have a reasonable solution. You can go ahead and
Let's
speak.
Let's listen.
At the very most, I could move it. It took me 6 months to build it. Take me just a few months to move it. I wouldn't even have to move it long. It's a good big dirt track. The kids have a lot of space to play, and being kids, everything's bigger to them. So right now, it's probably the biggest thing they've ever seen in their life. And I'm glad I can provide that for my children. Right? And I don't know what you've done, or if you have kids, or if you've done anything for your kids, but all I know is that you look like a bitter old man, and you might not see what I see. That I have created a world for them to enjoy. So moving that world
The rest of
might
the world,
throw it a little
you
bit off.
created no world for them. You created a little playground. You wanna create a world for them? Take them out to some damn sand dunes. Take them to a real motorbike track. Do something. I know they have things for those. So
Right.
take them there
So we're gonna-
instead of your backyard disrupting my peace.
So what was
Do you
your
know how
reason?
close the nearest one is?
I
You still-
don't care.
You never-
don't care.
You
What-
still
You
You
never.
never do.
No, if
still
they're your
never-
kids and you really care about them that much, go out and do it for them. Why you have to do it in your backyard? And you got the money, as you just said. So take them out your backyard, get them away from me, get their noise away from me, get their fumes away from me, and take them to another.
If you think about it from his perspective, though, not only just your perspective, I see you seeing it as a noise hazard and a health hazard. But if you think about it from his perspective, if you have kids,
You
3
do want to watch
kids,
them.
exactly, as a convenience factor,
Can
it's a
he
lot
not-
more
Can he
convenient.
not watch them over at some other track, not in his backyard,
But
creating
think
noise
about
for me?
the traveling time and all that, all the
and
other factors that
safety
play
and
into.
other
How many
kids.
years did it
That's-
take you to
that's
get
what
to
I'm
where
saying.
you are at right now?
40.
40 years. I'm still young. I'm still working. I'm
That's
still
right,
doing
and
my
I'm
job.
not, and I'm trying to enjoy
My
my peace. So
point
if you want to
is-
go have fun, move someplace close to
My
a
point is-
BMX track for
How
your
many-
little
hey,
kids.
Did you move
Can-
for every person that
can
you
you let
were
him speak?
dealing with?
No one else has ever built a freaking BMX track in my
Well,
backyard,
the point
next to my
is-
backyard.
The point is, I'm still working. I'm still doing my dues. My job is right
And I'm
here.
done with
It's
that.
not
That's what I'm
somewhere
telling
else.
you. I'm trying to enjoy my life because I've done all that already.
That's
But I can't do that because you and your rowdy little.
And you're still not
your
listening.
children. You're right. Because I don't care.
Because you're done listening, aren't you?
Yes, because you don't want to compromise
See,
on
then
this.
why are we here in a mediation? When I thought we were both going to come here supposedly, reading up on mediation, and you're supposed to do this stuff in good heart. Seems like, at least I'm given a part of mine, but it's just being
Well, to be
rejected at
honest-
every single turn.
To be honest, I feel like neither of you guys are giving 100% effort, to be honest. Because if you guys truly wanted to resolve this, you guys would be open
You
enough
guys
to
would
consider
be
each other's perspectives.
Let's not interrupt each other. Because, do you want to get a restraining order against yourself?
Against myself.
Do you want?
You mean against Mr. Apple?
Would you like him to have
Yes,
a
she
restraining
means
order?
against me.
He can try, but I don't care. This isn't about my distance from him, really. This is about the distance from the noise and the problem. The problem isn't him, the problem is that damn track.
Earlier
And
you
that's
said the
exactly
problem
what
was-
we're trying to figure out. But
But he
we
thinks,
can't come to a
he thinks
solution
he's
if you
entitled,
guys
he thinks
keep
he's entitled
going
to
to
everything
the
just because it's his land. Like, I'm entitled to my sleep. I'm entitled to my health.
And
But
so
I'm
that's
not getting
why
that.
we're here to come up with a solution. But you guys going back and forth on the past isn't going to help us move toward a solution in the future.
Because you don't, Mr.
Apple.
Apple, you don't want to, continue living with your neighbor complaining about the track and having it bothering him. So if we can just leave what happened in the past and just listen to each other and have a good heart. And
So where do you want to go from here?
I
I
say
want
we-
to listen to maybe your solution and Mr. White's solution, one-on-one, or do you want to do it one-on-one?
I
I can
say,
do it either way. I'm fine.
I say I can give some input on what I think would be a solution. You guys can give your input on my input. I say one, if you'd like to move your track or rebuild it in another location, that'd be a solution. Mr. White, you can park your cars. You can park your cars someplace else. As you mentioned, you do have an acre and a half. So
Right, but not all that's paved or ready to have cars parked on it. That involved more construction for me.
as would moving the track would involve construction.
There
but
would
that's
be
an app-
construction.
On dirt versus paying to have somebody come in and create that for me. He can make his track by himself. All those country people have all their tractors and stuff to do it
We're
themselves.
handy. We're handy.
I don't have that. I'm a 60-year-old man. I don't have time to be laying down pavement, running that stuff down.
Nobody said you'd have to do it, but
I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Sir,
I shouldn't have
if
to pay
you
for
want,
it
I
to
could just
repark
do
my
it for
cars.
you.
I don't want you on my property.
So you
So
don't
you're-
want any part of the solution.
we're gonna have to
You
come
want-
to some sort of compromise for this to be resolved, and that seems to be one of the problems here. Neither of you guys really like to seem like you guys want to come to a compromise.
You guys don't have to be friends, but
I-
even.
Go ahead, keep going with the suggestions you have, but I'm saying I'm not compromising into building a new parking lot for my cars. I shouldn't have to move my cars and pay for more construction.
So you would like your stuff to stay the same, but you would like him to change his stuff, correct?
See, this is the way I see it. You're asking me to move my parking so that my cars don't get dirty. But if I don't do that and he keeps his track in the same place, then I either have to build a taller fence or I have to build a parking garage to keep my cars clean, which also involves more money for me and more money for me and nothing of an inconvenience for him.
How about you stop thinking about money and listen to the man? The man's saying you're going to put your foot out and I'm going to put my foot out, and then we can both get a solution out of this by both participating in a resolution.
We're not asking for one of you guys to put your whole neck out there and risk everything and put forth all this money just for one person to solve the problem. You guys
You guys have to accommodate, you guys are neighbors and
Yeah.
there are, kids involved. I know that you possibly have nieces or nephews or grandkids. And if you guys both accommodate, maybe you moving the truck and you building a fence to protect, the fumes from your health, then I think that would all be beneficial. I mean, the 1 acre of land, that's a lot of land, and, that's, I think it wouldn't hurt for both of you to, try to accommodate so you can stop, arguing, just live at peace, because I know you guys want to live at peace, yeah?
Is that not correct?
Well, what do you mean by peace? Because peace is exactly what I think.
No conflict, that's peace. You don't want your neighbor knocking on your door, outside of your house,
Complaining about.
watching your kids,
Taking pictures of
taking
my
pictures.
innocent children. Yeah,
Kids,
I'll agree.
it's
Yes.
about the kids, It's about health and the kids. How would you feel moving the track, maybe a part of the track on the other side?
I could just tell my kids don't ride by the old cranky man's house.
And you're,
That's as
you're
much as I
very
can do.
you're very lucky that the city isn't, trying to tear down your track.
So, seems like we've come up with a couple possible solutions. One of which would be you possibly building part of the track, maybe a fence being built in between the two properties to stop some of the dirt being built on your house and your cars. Honestly, I don't believe there's. Alright, we're just gonna take a break for just. Alright, now that we each had a chance to clear our heads and cool off for a second, let's really consider some options to resolve this dispute between the two of you guys. So we mentioned the possibilities of possibly moving part of the track to another location on your property. We also discussed building a fence between the two of you guys. Were there any other suggestions that you guys could think of?
Well, we already have a fence. Moving the track might be a little bit fine. I don't know why he can't move his car without having to build an entire pavement. You're always trying to settle solutions with money. Doesn't work out like that in life. But you are a businessman, that's how you think. I'm not going to change it.
I mean, I just don't appreciate, the fact that after I went and called the city, you went up and increased the amount of people you were having over, the amount of races you were having, the amount of dirt you were kicking up to my house and into my lungs, and the amount of trash you were throwing over my fence.
So to be honest, I didn't call them. Those are my children's friends, which are all a bunch of 8-year-olds and
So you're not
11-year-olds.
responsible for what goes
No.
on in your house.
No, I am not saying that. I'm saying I wasn't the one that invited them. My children were the
You
one
could
that
have said,
invited them.
sorry,
And
go,
I
go,
watched
go
all
home,
of them.
Billy. Can't be here.
No,
That's
but they
you.
can't be here because we're all family here. And we tried to have you in there too, but you never came out, never said hello.
Why would I want to sit next to the
A hill
Daytona 500? Like, no, I'm cool.
I'm sorry.
Alright, so it's obvious.
I'm not.
You guys obviously don't have to be friends. You guys aren't agreeing on certain aspects of the track and the relationship that you guys already have. We don't need you guys to be friends. We just need you guys to be peaceful neighbors. And to do that, we're gonna need to come up with a solution to fix that. Because obviously you're not happy with all the dirt
The
that's.
barbarians over here. No,
Oh yeah, the barbarians.
I mean, once after the track is moved, just like Mr. Apple is saying, you know, you won't have to deal with the air and the dirt and,
The track's still gonna be there. I'm probably still gonna be hearing noise.
I mean, you don't know that for sure. You know, we're gonna try this. We're gonna try this out and, you know, after it happens, then I'm assuming, I'm thinking it's going to be, you know, not a problem anymore. And then the kids can still play and you will be,
Alone and happy with your wife.
Just the way I want it.
Just the way you want it until you die.
I'll die happy at least.
All right.
That's
No,
great.
no dirt and garbage.
That is
He'll-
great.
he'll
It'll be
believe-
great when you die.
Hillbillies yelling at me with some fucking.
as
weird
long as
shit.
you guys are both happy. That's
That's all
why,
that matters.
that's why, you know, we want to do this and to avoid conflict and future conflict,
Yeah, like.
you know.
There won't be any
Just
future
think that-
conflict.
Yeah, you're right, because I get my mail from the other side of my place now, so you won't be standing in front of my mailbox trying to, you know, block me from getting my mail. I've already moved that, so that problem's been solved.
Yeah, so the only solution, I mean, the problem,
Hell, you
the
talk.
problem,
Oh, you don't-
the problem's already been solved, Dave.
I think
The
you-
problem's been solved, Dave.
Mr. White, you bring up a lot of things that has happened in the past, as if, you know, you're not over it yet, which is okay, you know,
No,
take
I'm
time.
over it. I'm just saying I don't want it happening again, and I've
This
taken
old man has
action.
grudges, apparently.
I've taken action to already get over these things, but you know, I'm just telling you what I
You
don't
know
want.
what?
So as far removed as he can be from me and my wife, that's what I want.
Yeah,
So we've agreed upon partially moving the track and maybe increasing the fence size to
No, I'm not doing that. That's absurd.
Yeah, you don't remember he said no to that, and he said no to me helping with that at all.
Okay,
He doesn't
so
want to change anything about that. I listen.
so we're just going to be moving part of the track, and that should be that, correct?
Sounds-
we're gonna
My children will
provide
play.
a signed agreement
Um,
for you guys.
Now, is there any way we can? No, I guess that's not gonna be a problem. But if it is, if it is a problem still, I'll be contacting you about, you know, appropriate hours for your little NASCAR racetrack to go ahead and
I love NASCAR.
continue. I'm sure continue operating.
Mr. Apple,
Yes.
how long do you think you'll be able to move the racetrack? Just so we don't have any assumptions.
The
or,
timetable.
you know.
I move on my own time. He'll just have to deal with it.
Perfect hillbilly answer.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
and we're actually
What do
going to
you
need a actual tangible time because we are going to get this down in writing.
I'll say 2 months. How about
Okay.
Is
that?
that
Took me 6
reasonable?
months to build the whole thing. It'll take me 2 months to move part of it. I'll move part of it.
Does that sound okay with you?
Sure, yeah.
Is it reasonable?
Yeah, sure, as long as he's not throwing his dirt over my fence, you know, when he's constructing it or whatever. That's fine.
All right, sounds good.
Boy, you live
Now,
on
if you
dirt.
guys would just
No, that's you,
shake
big boy.
hands and we'll just get this agreement signed up and
I ain't shaking hands with this suited up
all right.
monkey.
So we don't have to shake hands. We'll just sign this agreement and go about our way.
I'm gonna get my
Thank
hands
you
dirty.
for.
I'm just gonna let you know.
All
My
right.
children will ride, and if you come on my property, you will be shot.
Now we're making death threats. I thought
That's
we were
my
supposed to be
property.
good neighbors at the end of this.
No, we
No
don't
one's
have to be good
going to
neighbors.
be on anyone's property.
We don't have
That's
to be
not
neighbors.
gonna happen.
You threaten my children, you threaten me, and that's how it's gonna stay. So
Is
stay
there
the
more
hell
that
away
you
from me.
wanted to talk about, Mr. Apples?
It's already out there. You already know.
Just throwing a hillbilly tantrum. Just move past it.
I know you feel
Go to
very
people with thoughts.
regret, but I mean, it's something that happened in the past, and we're not here to talk about what happened in the
Oh,
past.
darling, you forgive, but you don't forget.
And you learn.
I forgive him for being old, I forgive him for being the way he is. But if he comes around and threatens, we can only do what we do.
No one wants to be threatened. I understand. But
Thank you.
right now what's going on is, you won't have the problem. You won't have Mr. White in your children's face anymore. It's not going to happen. It's
Right.
unacceptable.
And along my line of property, I know you don't want me doing anything on yours. I'll respect that. But like I said, I'm handyman, so I'll just make another little post that says, "Cross this line, you might be shot." So that's not against the law.
So I just want to thank both of you for being here. Is there
Surprised if
anything
I
else?
power hose you with my washer I had to buy.
Ooh, you better buy a washer. I hand wash my shit, boy.
I feel like
I'm sorry, did we need to do something?
the
Yes,
agreement's
we're gonna
been
sign.
signed, and
You guys are going to sign some agreement
you guys can
forms.
go about your ways.
Alright. Debrief. Let's do it.
How well prepared were the parties in terms of reading and understanding the roles? Please comment on how and whether the parties would have benefited from further study of character roles, emotions, needs, interests, bargaining positions, facts, relationships, etc.
I think we were well prepared.
Yeah, obviously you guys read it and you guys watched us do it,
Yeah.
so.
That insight.
I kind of dug a little deeper into like the health.
Yeah.
And I felt like that, like as a dying 7-year-old man, that was probably one of my main concerns. Like,
I think you're like too like crazy for a freaking old man.
That's what I was like,
I don't know. There's some.
but that's for
Yeah.
another, that's for another question.
Yes.
Like, I wanted
Yeah.
to comment on that. That's another question.
Um,
But really, he's not too crazy. My grandpa's a lot worse.
yeah, let's say
Like,
I
actually,
actually some crazy folks. My great grandma, she's 96, and she don't fuck around. Please comment on 1 or 2 points in time wherein the students portrayed the party's interest very well.
I think when you pointed out the, like specifically, like the fumes and the dirt, and the noise and what bothered you, like you made it really clear. Mr. Apples, I kept wanting to call you Mr. Bubbles. I was like, Mr. Bubbles. I don't know why. I just wanted to say Bubbles.
That should have been
Mixed with apple.
Mr. Apple, you're a sour apple.
That was wild. My boy, you think that's an
You think you hurt my
you
feelings?
hear my feelings?
You call that an insult?
You call that an insult?
Use a red apple.
Use a red.
Did you have something to add?
Oh wait, what was the question?
How do we portray the party's interests well and when?
Yeah, I feel like you got into his nice little redneck character.
I know you had a redneck accent at one point, and I was like,
I did?
yeah.
Oh shit.
I was like, how do I respond? Because it was just like at the end of the sentence.
You were very like defensive about everything.
I felt like one thing I did more because I'm at least trying to take it from my grandparents because they're like really rednecks, Like they'll insult people, but they're very mannered at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find a middle ground where I can like insult him but stay mannered at the same time. Because you do insults at every sentence, man.
I'm a pissed off old man.
You're a grumpy old man, man.
I'm dying, and you're killing me.
And so I was like, well, someone in the country, they would just be like, look, he can't even talk to me without being disrespectful. I mean, they are big on respect of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
You weren't respecting my health. Alright, question 3. Please comment on 1 or 2 points at which the students' portrayal of the party seemed unrealistic and did not contribute to a sense of realism.
Just how eager you were to try to like insult. that you
Yeah,
not
that was
see.
kind of unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, everything you said was like mean, negative. Like, you had no like heart
I
whatsoever.
mean, have you?
That was-
I've met some like old grumpy people like that though. Like, I felt like I don't know. I just felt like the way it was written was like hella sarcastic. Like he was like, let's see. First thing is and ended with your hillbilly neighbors decided to go all NASCAR in their backyard.
I do like NASCAR.
I love that.
It made your quiet country estate turned into a Cow Palace monster truck exhibition.
Like what I really wanted to say was, listen,
Yes.
you live in this like
Rural area.
rural area where people have stupid like dirt bikes and like crazy
Hey.
like farm animals. Like
Yes,
that's what you're gonna experience.
No resent that.
Well, I think
Like okay, but in reality, like it would be nice if a real mediation, if they had, brought pictures.
of
Like if we had pictures of
would have been a lot
exactly,
easier.
where
More
it
clear. It
was.
feels abstract. Like, oh wait, so where is the dirt park? Like, how is it dirt
How
on
is it- how is
this?
it
Like,
That way, can, like, yeah, I feel like, well, I don't know if they actually would do that, like, would they bring it prior to or would they bring it upon plus?
I think it'd probably be in the convening phase.
Because I feel like if we're able to see exactly where things are, we can just like have that moment of like, like you could just move that
yeah,
like,
you
10
can do that with
feet.
that. Yeah.
Like that's not that hard.
Yeah, you're
man.
being so stubborn.
Yeah. And then like that's kind of like I know you don't want to move or anything, but that's kind of illogical what you're doing. But yeah, you wouldn't build a parking lot. You wouldn't move your car. You'd rather build a parking lot for your car. Are you serious?
Well, I said I wasn't going to.
Huh?
I said I wasn't going to.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like
He was like,
you
I'm not
won't
just
move
gonna
your
park.
car
He was like, I'm not
unless-
just gonna park my car in the grass. Like,
yeah, or the dirt. I'm like, you live in the country, man.
It's not in the country. It's just out city. Bless you.
Bless you.
It's city outskirts.
Rural enough, yes. I like how you said that like if you want, you should take your kids to like a more professional place. Because in mine it
That's
says.
a good point.
Yeah, because in mine it said like you built a decent track, but all the kids love it anyway. So really when you said what I was gonna say, but I didn't say because you did already. You were like, oh well, sometimes people just want to watch over their kids, and I was like, that's damn right. And so
I was like, yeah, I didn't know how to respond to that really.
yeah, and so it was more like, look, I thought we were in rural area, but then like when I asked you, you could have BS and I would have had to agree or not. When I asked you, I was like, well, where's the closest place? You could be like, we're on the outskirts. We could have just moved like 30 miles and you can take them there, which is like just a few minute drive,
Yeah.
But when you didn't answer, I was like, well, I can't do it then. I had to go hella far away. What's the next question?
Please comment on the general disposition of each mediator. I felt like you guys were both pretty relaxed. At the first part when we were being when I was like extra bitter, extra poisonous, you guys like both did like a good job of like we're gonna stop that. Although they kind of like faded out towards the end.
yeah.
Like, cause I started dropping them again like at the end just to see like if you guys were gonna say anything.
Well, I think actually it wasn't so much like a bad thing because I also like when you did it in the beginning I also said it's fine, we're around this all the time, we're used to this.
Yeah, but I mean,
So it's not gonna no.
Well,
like,
The thing is, like, if he was like, if he said, you know what, like that's so rude, or like him, expressing emotion to it, then it's like, okay, if it's not bothering you, why should we?
But I think as a mediator we have to figure it as a derogatory term.
But then we're not supposed to like highlight it though. We're not supposed to be.
No, but I mean like
It doesn't affect him.
but if it's like the fact that he's being regarded as a hillbilly doesn't really have anything to do with it, so it would be like neutralize the phrase just to be like.
So what does that have to do with it?
Like what does him and his
totally-
origin have to do with this problem? Like it does in You're here to talk about the dirt track. Like,
And then that was when you guys kept interrupting me.
yeah. I'm sorry.
And then you was talking.
I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like
I didn't mean to be like overwhelming, but I felt like I was
Well, I
kind of
mean,
like
I guess-
aggressing towards both of you guys at one point.
I felt like we were both aggressive. You more than me.
Yeah, there was a part where I was like,
Mhm. I love the part when we were just like,
oh yeah, when I was like,
You guys both just sound like, yo, I hope they don't do anything too
let's start playing.
it's a mediation. Did the above disposition seem to help the parties and contribute to a sense of effective dialogue? Or what otherwise was the impact of each mediator's disposition?
What?
Did the above disposition seem to help the parties and contribute to a sense of effective dialogue? So like, what was your guys' the impact of your disposition? I felt like it kind of just like it kept dialogue going between the two of us, whereas like ours was like a lot more structured and like you guys were like naturally like more, you guys were calmer just like inherently too. So I think both of those kind of like, cause like you guys set the tone at the beginning too. I think it was pretty much in the same way that we opened up ours.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like, I think at one point it was like I pushed and you guys didn't like push back, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep pushing. Like, like
I sat here and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
like I don't know, I just like I felt like there was a point where it was like, cause when I was coming in with like all the insults at the beginning, you guys were like, okay, let's stop. I was like, fuck, I just hit like a wall. Like I'm not gonna keep doing that. But then it was like, as soon as I caught that attitude with you, and I was just like, oh, you want me to listen?
Yeah.
I'm listening. Go ahead. Like I like pushed, and it was just like towards the mediator it was really rude, but like I didn't. There was no bite back or like no like you can drop the attitude with me because that's not gonna help you. And so I was like, all right, well, like I was kind of like enabled, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep like see how much I can push, pretty much.
Yeah. What was the question again?
How did their dispositions contribute to the dialogue or impact the dialogue?
Mine's for another question.
Did each mediator seem to push for a solution? If yes, how did that pushing impact the parties?
So I think you guys actually didn't push for a
Yeah, you
solution,
guys didn't.
which was really good. Like you really wanted to hear more and more.
Except for at the end when you were like, I thought we were done.
Yeah, he's like, this is
like we had
no, but it was even before that, like, because we were getting like rowdy, and then you were like, no, alright, look, this is what we needed to. Let's find a solution. Okay, boss.
Yeah. I feel like more in the beginning though, it was more so just kind of like.
No, I don't think you guys were pushing for a solution though. It was more like, we're here to find a solution.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think, Karina, you said that at one point. You were like, we're here to find a solution. So let's just keep calm.
Yeah.
Because you guys had a lot to say. So
Yeah.
it was like, okay, just say what you want to say, and then later on.
We still had a lot to say.
Yeah.
We just.
At the end, I kept remembering details. And I was like,
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
this
it
in.
was more like
pops up as you go along.
we had stuff to say, but at that point, you already like both of you already solved the issue, and we already came to an agreement. So really, nothing was gonna change. We were just bullshitting, like actual people would, I think, in that sense. Because people do that regardless.
Yeah.
Like even if it's solved, like you're still.
They still don't want to like fully commit to that.
Alright, number 8. In your observation, did each mediator seem to understand the nuisances of the parties' respective feelings, emotions, and points of view? I'd say yeah. I mean, it definitely, like, before you guys were obviously, like, getting a little annoyed by the fact that we were, like, going back and forth so much, it kind of, like, it was more obvious. And, like, I think at the end when you guys were, like, starting to push a little bit for the solution, it was like, we're overhearing all this fucking repetitive bullshit, like, let's go ahead and start, working
Yeah.
towards a solution. And
Yeah.
but I didn't feel like at any point you guys stopped like understanding, because that was something you really kept pushing on. You're like, I understand your health. Like when I was sitting here and I was like ignoring everyone else, and I was like, my health is like. You were like, okay, I understand, and you made like a point of that. So yeah, no, I felt like you guys did a good job doing it.
Well, what I really liked was the idea that both of you kept saying, well, think of it from their perspective. Think of it from their perspective. And then I was like, I kind of want to think of my perspective.
You were like, what'd you say? You were like, you said, oh, if I were his age, well, you know, I'm used to being outside, so no. I was like,
Yeah, and then you ask, like, well, think of it in his shoes. What would you do if there's a lot of noise? I'm like, I have the money, I'll move. And then you got all mad. I was like, hey, hold on, I said I do that, right?
yeah, but I mean, like, I think the way I took that was like, you had been asked to put yourself in my shoes,
Yeah,
so I was like, I'm not gonna fucking
I can
move
just
because
get mad at
they're
you.
trash. Like,
Yeah.
I got money, but I ain't trying to spend it. Like, I just moved in a year ago.
But I mean, the real
Just
reason
move.
was because no one else is gonna wanna live by a track.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna mention that.
Yeah.
I should have, honestly. Number 9. What's
He could have said that, but I would have
Yeah, that was
been like,
probably the best time to just like throw it in there. Like,
Yeah.
who wants
But
to
then
buy a
what would
house
you
by
have
a
said?
racetrack?
what I would have said to that was,
Well, I can move my
Everyone.
racetrack. Oh, then fucking move it.
no, if you didn't say that, I would have been like, everyone around us is participating in this racetrack.
And I would have been like, you and all your building.
Yeah, I know. And you probably would have said that, and then we would have gone back into the full circle. You know what?
What specific tools, character traits, or qualities did each mediator convey that worked really well? Can you guys use like a good amount of iMessages? I know you reframed, you validated, and there was definitely a good amount of sympathy when you were going into like.
I think validation is the one that like hit me most with you, especially you. You did a lot of validation with me, and I was like, thank you. Yeah.
That made
Yeah.
me feel good.
That made me feel good.
Or you guys feel bad. I have to make you guys happy again.
What?
Or you guys feel all shitty. You guys are talking shit to each other. And I'm like,
I wasn't feeling shitty. I was feeling good.
I was
got my
feeling
anger out.
just fine. Cause city boy
like,
can't make
maybe
me
your
mad.
feelings are hurt. Let's talk about your feelings.
You should have said that. You boys are hurt. And then we both would have been like, like, what you mean? No, don't do that.
I think you had some iMessages too that worked well.
Do you guys think you use anything in particular that was like, you really did well? Because for me, it would be validation, keeping iMessages.
What I think I did well? I think we asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, you guys definitely like uncovered like a lot more of the story.
Yeah.
Like in a linear fashion, it wasn't like when we were the mediators, we kind of had you guys like.
Yeah.
But I mean, he even said that's kind of like the flow of conversation sometimes. So I think it kind of showed like 2 different ways of going about creating the conversation.
Yeah.
What tools did you guys use that needed attention or changing? One thing that I when we were doing the mediation, like when we were the participants rather than the mediators, I realized like I don't know if we're supposed to like be the ones throwing up all the suggestions for like.
That's true, because I did read in the book, it was like, there's like moments where the mediator is not supposed to like
Yeah.
bring in suggestions.
And so you just let,
Yeah,
let
so
them
say,
think.
like-
Let them figure it out entirely by themselves. Really.
Yeah. I just kind of want to throw it out there because I really feel like it was going to keep them in the
No. I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, we were obviously unable to like directly
Yeah.
extract that from one another. Like,
Yeah, that's what I was like.
So it was like
I can give some input, and then I was like, you guys can.
And then you guys think
Yeah.
input
yeah,
on my input.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, alright.
because
Alright, I'll tell you what I think.
Because
Yeah.
you guys-
because we were obviously like not thinking like
Yeah.
rationally about it. So it's like, all right, let me have my neutral like possible suggestions. And I think like one thing I did is I eliminated the possibilities that you guys had like gone through in your role play, and I was like, I'm not gonna build a fence. I'm not building a new driveway. You know what? How about you move your damn track? And then,
And for me, like, I was like, if I don't say yes to this, we're never gonna finish.
Yeah.
So I was like, look, I'm younger, I got more energy, I can move, I'll just go ahead and do it. And then I was like, look, if anything, I can also do it on your property. I don't want you on my property.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what I feel like that's probably what someone in his circumstance. I mean, he had already like when I was like, you were in front of my mailbox, like you were like, what?
Okay, was that?
Yeah.
What does it say? Because
That's what I'm saying. Like it says that in his.
yeah, because that's when I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
It says the neighbor. Okay, so it was the neighbor came onto our property and stood in front of my mailbox, keeping me away from it. We finally had to move the mailbox to the other side of the yard.
So I'm a douche too?
Yeah, you're a hillbilly. Why do you think I'm unacceptable?
Oh, okay. Alright.
Yeah,
Well, I think that was like a little minor compared to the
I had
other
to
ones.
move my mailbox. You call that my mailbox?
The whole mailbox? You
Yeah.
have to move a whole track. Are you saying?
You're right, but I'm old.
But I'm old.
Yeah, no, I thought it went well. A lot of different dynamics from the first role play.
Yeah.
And kind of changed it up and showed contrast. And I think that's like one of the good things. One of the things we're really good at is like
Showing it. Like
showing it from different angles. Like, all right,
Is that it?
that is it.
Alright, we are done. Whew.